All right, this one comes in from Janice, and she's asking, can you share some things you would look at and do for top keywords that drop?
That's a great question. Yeah, so you're in a triage situation there. If you're familiar with the concept of triage, it's what medics do on a battlefield or in a disaster, somewhere where there's a lot of casualties and injuries. In that situation, those first responder people are trained to come in and assess everybody, right? Because not everybody can be treated the same. They got to get the worst cases first. They have to know what's going on. So when you have significant or important keywords that begin to lose position, that begin to fall out of ranking or fall out of the money positions, you need to have a triage process that you walk through and say, why is that happening? And you should have a checklist. And again, if I remember, Frank will remind me. Frank, and I keep saying it. We'll send these resources. Is there a way for you to keep track of who's been here or get that? Maybe you can tweet it out.
So for those resources, so that way everybody knows where I put them to make it as easy as possible on me, there is a chat section on Meetup. And so for this event, within that chat section for the event, I post the links there. And then I also will tweet them out. They'll be included in the video description on YouTube when I upload them to YouTube.
Terrific.
So there's a few places that they will end up.
Okay, we'll get some of these things to Frank and make sure that they're included in those places so you can go look for them there. I mentioned that here because I know that we have an excellent blog post I would want to share with you that gives you the whole process of walking through a ranking loss triage. It's more than I can probably cover here right now, but you want to think about there's basic fundamental things that could have happened. And everybody wants to jump immediately to Google did something, Google changed something. And that's actually the least likely one. It does happen. Google changes, but it's something you should eventually look for, but it's probably the last thing that you should look at or look for. The very first thing I think is looking at your own technical situation. Did something change on our site? I think in my experience, the majority of the times when something drops out of ranking, the cause is something broke on our site. Did somebody change something that you weren't aware of? In the technical background, somebody mess with the code of the page and remove some things that are essential to Google. Again, we can't in the scope of this cover all a total checklist of all those things, but the resource that I'll send out will have that. But that would be the first thing I would look at. The second thing would be competitive situations, because a lot of times your rank doesn't drop because of something you did so much as something your competitor did, or a number of competitors. So has there been some changing in there? Again, I'm going to be sharing something here that's available to our clients who are enterprise level, they can pay for it, but like something we built into our platform is that kind of monitoring. So we monitor for all of your top keywords, and we can tell you, has something changed on your top competitors' sites or pages in that are ranking for that keyword in the last little while that might be the reason. Like they optimized those pages, they improved them, they added something to them that are moving up. So look at it's a good thing if you're a smaller situation, which I think probably a lot of the people here are. Be aware of the keywords that matter to you most, and do a regular check on the rankings, and look at actually some of the top ranking pages. Have an idea of what they're doing, and so you have some kind of mindset of what might have changed there, what might they be doing differently. And then the third level again is to ask if there might be something. If you have a drastic drop, like all your keywords drop or something like that, or you lose a bunch of keywords altogether from ranking like that, then you're talking about territory where you might be looking at something, either an algorithm change or at the very far extreme, a Google penalty. Penalties are rare. They don't happen all that much. They do happen. You should be connected to Google Search Console, because if you did get a actual manual penalty where Google went in, looked at something in your site and said this is shady, or this is breaking our guidelines or whatever, that, the links coming into this site are all pretty suspect, whatever it might be, they will tell you in Google Search Console, you get an alert in there that you have a penalty. So check there for that. But it could be an algorithmic change. And so you want to keep, for that, like you just want to keep up on your SEO news. Everybody's go to, like Barry Schwartz, SEO Roundtable, right? Like he's the first level of knowing that there might be something out there, a change in the temperature, an algorithm change. Look back at the time that you began to drop. Does it match up with something that was in the news? These are all things you can do to begin to assess that. But I will pass along that article, which I think has a really, really good checklist, triage checklist that you can walk through very systematically and eliminate things down the thing to get to the most likely. At the end of the day, you're going to be forming a theory because you're not going to know for sure. And then once you have your theory based on the best evidence that you have, then you can be able to strategy. Okay, what do we need to do to correct that? What do we need to fix? What do we need to add to the content? What links do we need to get? What do we need to do to remedy that situation?
Relating that massive change that you said could be algorithmic to a common developer error. Maybe something was moved out of staging and the robots.txt file went with it from staging and is telling Google to go away. Or something that I saw with a client a while ago, you talked about like installing or having changes to the site. Even if you have a small team, you're installing updates to your site, and those updates are built by other teams. So those people may not directly report to you, but they are people that apply code changes to your site when you install those updates. And this client had 404 errors everywhere because the latest update to their theme turned all of their telephone links into internal links to a page that was their phone number, which didn't exist. And a great example of why you need a child theme. We were able to quickly fix that for them instead of waiting for the developer to fix the parent theme.
Yeah, and that's when you're talking about smaller sites, like that's so often the technical problem that happens, right? You put in a new plugin and you didn't fully understand what that plugin is doing, or the plugin gets updated, right, and changes things you don't see. So yeah, that can often be the level of where the technical problem is happening for sure.